Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody this morning? So my name is Dr. Jim Stone. What a cool name. No, I'm Keith Motley, and I know that when you see me walking up here, if you've attended this event before, you know I'm supposed to come up to announce the winner. But I just couldn't sit in my seat any longer and go through this. So Jim, I decided, Wendell, I'm sorry. Jim, and you even brought my freshman year college teacher here to make me behave this morning, Dr. Irene Nichols, educated by the public schools in Boston, but I'm not behaving. Not so fast, everybody. We still have some incredible work to do this morning, and you know, I'm going to come back up a little bit later for that. The food was great. Thank the staff for all that. Give them a round of applause. Even had me sit at the table with my sister Pam trying to get me to sit down this morning. But I'm excited. EdVestors talks about improving education outcome, but also giving opportunities to all of our students. It will take all of us, every single one of us in this room, to make that happen. Now, Wendell talked earlier, and what he was trying to tell you all was that education isn't a spectator sport. It's going to mean that we all have to make sure that EdVestors continues on the path of supporting our schools along with each and every one of you. And that we need to shine the bright light on those and what is working. We want them to work hard to help other schools on the path to becoming schools on the move, because we know that's what we all want for this system. And so, did I tell you that there was a raffle? Or did someone ever tell you that? Now, we want to invite all of you to make a donation. Now, we said it doesn't matter how much. So no one has the excuse of not giving this morning. You see the raffle prizes are up there. Fill out those pledge cards on the table. Put your check, your cash, your credit card, maybe even somebody else's credit card to help us this morning. Add that envelope to those incredibly lovely baskets on the table. Wow. And although I haven't been asked, I'm going to say it anyway. With this amazing group, we can make a tremendous difference. Now, the reason I ran up here was because someone challenged me in the hallway this morning. They said, Dr. Motley, you only raised $30,000 last year. Yeah, challenge. $30,000. They said, can you raise 50 today? 50% of the prize that we give out. No problem. I looked around. I saw who was networking this morning, and I know that together we can make a difference. 100% participation will make that happen. And so now, Jim, I'm going to get out the way and let the real Dr. Jim Stone come up here. And when the next time you see me, I'll be up to announce the prize winner. So thank you all. Sorry, man, I just couldn't sit there any longer.
Thanks, Keith. And it was understandable. People do confuse us all the time. So I've had the privilege of working on this panel for EdVestors for all 12 years or something like that, and chairing it for most of them. It's a very, very special thing for me, one of my favorite activities. You know, we all hear, maybe too often, the discouraging stories about public education, and there are some of those, but it's just wonderful to focus on the good ones, because there's plenty of good stories too, and that's what we get to do. We get to focus on uplifting and unheralded good outcomes. To find a school that's lifted its performance impressively, found a coherent strategy for keeping that progress going, and presenting a model that other schools can learn from is a real treat for both the heart and the mind. So I've had this privilege a long time, but it never wears thin, and I'm gratified that so many of you came to be with us this morning and share the special moment. It's not my job today to announce the winner. My twin gets to do that. But I will say something about the selection process. You heard a little about it before, but let me just say again that the panel is a very impressive group of public-minded and successful people. In addition, the staff is quite remarkable here at EdVestors. They narrowed down the list of possible schools to 6, then we narrow it down to 3, then we visit and debate and vote. And when we visit, it's just wonderful to see how the schools, one after another, kind of outdo each other with stories of their well-earned pride. In the end, the vote's always tough, and it's seldom unanimous, and that's because all 3 schools deserve enormous esteem, and all 3 should be congratulated heartily for what they've accomplished, as Linda so nicely said. My comparison would be to the World Series. There's only one first-place winner. We're going to find out who that is tonight, but there aren't any losers. It's pretty good to be in the World Series, and it's pretty good to be in this room. To get here is a signature event for all 3 schools. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, the Mayor of Boston. You can read every day, in fact, whether you like it or not, you're going to hear every day about stalled governance in Washington. And it's entirely without partisanship that I can observe that neither party seems overjoyed right now with the state of things. But nobody's going to say that about our city. Nobody's going to say that about Boston. The mayor hit the ground running from the day he arrived, tackling problems no less daunting and challenging than the mitigation of potential climate disruption to our coastal spaces. He championed affordable housing and thoughtfully melded the demands of societal equity with those of business development and job creation. Among his top priorities, of course, has been education. So Boston looked pretty good by national standards even before our current mayor took over, but he's widened our lead. He's expanded the number of pre-grade school seats. He's lengthened the school day. He's organized partners to construct a summer learning system, and he's enhanced the district's art education program. I could go on, but there's just too much to list. I will say, though, that he's done all this, and this I think is pretty remarkable, at least so far, always by building alliances rather than pitting one side against the other. This is a man who actually helped found a charter school, but never lost the respect of the parochial school community or the district administrators and teachers. He's got all 3 as constituencies, and that's pretty remarkable. If you've listened to him before, you have no doubt, though, that our mayor is never satisfied with just enough. Yes, we now have the highest graduation rate in Boston public school history and a growing number of college-bound students, but from what I hear, I don't think he's going to let up until there's a college or career path for every student, regardless of race, national origin, or economic status. Mayor Walsh's Boston is a welcoming, safe, and nurturing place for all children. I just tremendously admire his plain-speaking persistence and unflagging decency. So I know I speak for EdVestors as a whole when I say that we'll be happy to work with him on the next set of challenges. Given the situation in national politics, our big city mayors, local governments mean more now than ever. This is a mayor whose tools have been sincerity and commitment to community, not divisiveness. Mayor Walsh's Boston is, and I have no doubt will increasingly be, an exemplar for the rest of the country. We're pleased and honored to be with us today as we celebrate some inspirational educational stories here in Boston. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Martin J. Walsh.
Thank you. Let me thank Jim. Thank you. I need to borrow you for the next 6 days. Just walk around me, and wherever I go, I want you to give me that introduction, if you don't mind. No, thank you, and thank you for your great work. And Laura, I want to thank you as well, and the selection panel and everyone at EdVestors. Thank you. This is an exciting event because when you look around the room, most people in education or have something to do with education is usually in this room here today. And you don't see that every day when you look at different educational events that we have around the city of Boston. And we have, incredible people. Chancellor, thank you. You're the best. And he will hit the 50 grand mark, because if you don't, we'll lock on the doors. And then I want to thank Keith Motley. But thank you. And as I say every year, this is like this is an incredible event. It is like watching the World Series. And when Jim, when you were talking about the World Series, the superintendent of schools got all excited because he's a Dodger fan. He's a Laker fan too. That doesn't work out too well for him, but he's a Dodger fan. So I want to just remind him that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the sponsors that are here today. As Keith Motley said, this investments in education is never wrong. So as you get towards the raffles today and things like that, any investment in education is never a bad investment. It's always a good investment. It's probably one of the best places you can invest. We can invest any of our money in it is in education. So thank you for that. I want to thank the superintendent that's here with us, Tommy Chang. I want to thank Robbie Consavo, the chief of staff of the school department. I want to thank Michael Neal, the chairman of the school department, school as well, school committee. Thank you, Michael. Ron Dorsey, chief of education for the city of Boston, and Jessica Tang, president of the BTU. Thank you for all of your leadership, which is important for us to be continually work closely together to move forward. So thank you for that. I want to thank the judges in this remarkable process we got to this point today. And I look around, I see some schools that aren't part of this, the final three, but congratulations to you as well. I mean, some of you won last year, the year before, and the year before. This is my 4th time coming to this breakfast, and coming to it is incredible. Watching the faces and seeing the excitement. What's even better though, when you go to the schools afterwards, in the school that wins, obviously everyone's excited about. But when you go to the other schools, and I've done that last couple of years, not subconsciously, kind of just going into those schools after. And the spirit in that school is incredible in those schools. The teachers are still high, and people are excited, and people are moving education forward. And that's what's exciting about our district, seeing so much education, so much competition. So I want to congratulate P.J. Kennedy, McKay, and Mildred Ave today on this. The progress that you've all made throughout Boston's public schools has been remarkable. And what we've done is, and Jim talked about this, we've achieved the highest graduation rate in Boston's history, which I'm excited about, but I say all the time, 27% of our kids aren't graduating high school. So we can boast that we have 72.6%, I think our graduation rate is, which we should celebrate. But on the other side, 27% of our kids aren't graduating. We have more work to do. We have more kids going to college than ever before. That's exciting. We launched also a free community college program with Bunker Hill Community College and Roxbury Community College, and we expanded to Mass Bay Community College to get our young people into college in the front door. And I tell them when I see them, a lot of times I'll talk to a young person, I say, where are you going? Some kids will go, I go to Bunker Hill. And I said, oh, good, that's great, because when I went to college, my first college after high school was Quincy Junior College. And they go, you went to Quincy? Yeah, I went to Quincy Junior College because it was important for me, because I wasn't able to get into the school I wanted to get to at that point, because I wasn't as focused as I should have been when I was in high school. And I think it's important to tell that story to our young people, to let them know the importance of that. We've doubled the size of our 5th quarter summer learning program, something that we worked with the superintendent, and Tommy Welch is here, and we worked, and before that Ross was working for the district. We were working to make sure we expand that program, and we had an incredible summer this year in doing that. We're helping our kids build skills and confidence they need to put them on the right paths. We have incredible educators all over our city that are working in our classrooms every single day. We also expanded our summer job program, which is indirectly a connection to education outside the classroom, because our young people now are working more in companies, in private companies. I see Neil Sullivan here from the PIC. We're working in private companies where they're getting incredible experience. And most of these companies now are starting to change the way they do their business. It's not just simply employing a kid for 40 hours a week. What they're doing is they're adding some educational incentives, because State Street came up with an incredible program. John Hancock came up with an incredible program, and other people now are saying, we got to do what they're doing, because we got to do more for our kids. So again, all good stuff happening in the city. The 3 schools that we talked about today have gone above and beyond in closing the achievement gap, the opportunity gap. They're finding new ways to really think about getting the whole family involved. They're giving teachers the freedom to test new ideas and find what works best with their students. And I congratulate the leadership of these 3 schools for doing that, because it's important for us to allow people the opportunity to really let them explore. Because sometimes the best ideas come from the people around you, and that's what's happening. They're meeting the needs of our students who are immigrants and English language learners. It's something that we have to continue to do in our city. And they make sure every student knows that they belong. And also making sure that the mission of BPS is always that way, that we let kids know they belong. 28% of our residents in Boston are foreign born. 48% of our residents in Boston are first generation, like I am. So we are over 75% of our population in Boston is one plane ride or one boat ride away from being an immigrant. And we have to continue to remember that as we move forward in our education, moving our education forward in a positive way. Superintendent Chang and I have made it clear that no matter what reckless policies come out of Washington, we're going to continue to protect our students. We're going to make sure that our kids know that they're valued and that their cultures are respected. Last year, after the presidential election, I spent a lot of time in different schools, particularly in East Boston. There was a lot of fear in those schools. The superintendent created a website. The superintendent created an opportunity to go out and talk to the teachers and the parents to let them know that you're in a safe space. Since that time, I go out to a lot of schools and I talk to a lot of young people, and they're afraid. They're afraid that their mom or dad is going to be ripped out of their home. And it's important for us as a district, important for us as a society, to let people feel comfortable. They don't have to worry about that, and the superintendent has done a good job. No matter what language people learn first, what they need, the special things that they need to have is making sure that they are protected. And that's what we're going to continue to do that. We're also preparing for an influx of students from Puerto Rico. I think we have 30 kids to this point, almost 100 kids to this point. We had 30 last week, 100 now, which is good. I'm not going to heat you up right now, but the families coming from Puerto Rico are coming with shorts and flip-flops, and we will come back to you later on about that as we head into the winter months. I had a meeting with my cabinet the other day, and I asked my cabinet if they'd help us, and I think every single cabinet member came up with about $250 gift card to be able to go out and buy a family, a young person coming over, a pair of shoes, pair of sneakers, a winter coat, and getting them ready for the winter. So we have a great city. So as we go into these families, we're going to continue to reach out to them. Everything we do for our schools is built on collaboration between teachers and students, families and school leaders, and different types of schools. Jim talked about that. You know, it's important for us as we move forward in education. Let's not get into the battles. I've talked about this at the State of the City 2 years ago. I've talked about this so many different times. We had a ballot question, question 2. People are still talking about the ballot question. The ballot question has come, it's gone, it's lost, it's over, it's gone. Let's move forward in a positive way. Let's stop pitting schools against each other. Let's stop pitting leaders against each other. We need to stop doing that. I don't care how a young person gets educated in the city of Boston if they have an opportunity to go on to college and be successful and get a job and raise a family. That's what matters. That's what a lot of the work that you do in this room is. I know some people are saying, oh, God, you know, here he goes. We have to be that city. We have to be that city because we're not letting the national politics trip our city up here in Boston. We're not letting the anti-immigrant talk trip our city up here in Boston. We're not letting the anti-Muslim talk trip our city up in Boston. So if we're able to do that on a bigger scale, we should do the same thing when it comes to our educational systems. It's important for us to make sure that they're successful all across the board. And I'm grateful to EdVestors in allowing us to be part of this community. EdVestors is working to make sure all students have the access and the tools they need. They're helping us strengthen math through our program through Excellence for All initiative. They're a great partner in our BPS Arts Expansion program. They've been a critical partner in our student assignment and the BPS School Quality Framework, the Opportunity Gap Task Force, the ELL Task Force. All the issues that EdVestors is involved in are issues that help us create a better opportunity for our kids to be successful. Today we're shining a special light on strategies that are working on School on the Move. They're helping us replicate the successes across the city in different other schools. The spirit of hard work and creativity is the reason why Boston was a birthplace of education and the reason why Boston continues to be a national leader. I'm almost done here. Jim made a comment that I thought was a great comment when he talked about, you know, Boston's the leader and Massachusetts is the leader in education in a lot of ways, and we are. But we're never done improving. We can't be the leader by test scores. We have to be the leader by graduation rates. We have to be the leader by putting our young people on path of success. What EdVestors does for us every day is allows us to put our young people on that path. What other great organizations in this room and nonprofits and philanthropic folks do in this room, I want to thank you for it as well, because you help put us on a path to that. Before I end, I want to just give a couple more shout-outs. City Councilor Anissa Asabi-George, who has spent her entire career as a city councilor now, almost one full term, fighting every day for more on education in so many different areas. And I have to give a special shout out on the homeless children front, because she pushes and pushes and pushes, and she pushes because she loves the kids, and she pushes because she was an educator, and she understands it from that side out. So thank you, Counselor, for being here today. I also want to thank Dr. McKeever McCreary for her work and what we're doing in redirecting some of the philanthropic giving in the city of Boston and trying to maximize every single dollar like we can get in. So if Keith Motley wasn't following me at the microphone, I would be pushing for McKeever money, but Keith is 1.5 feet bigger than me, and I love him, so I'm gonna give him the microphone today. So I want to again thank Dr. McCreary. I want to thank everyone at EdVestors for your great work. I want to thank you for making a difference in the lives of students in our city for such a long time. And I want to thank you for what you do for our entire community and for our families in the city of Boston. So thank you, and good luck to the 3 schools.
Quiet in here. So put your hands together again for our mayor, Mayor Walsh. You know, he is not new to this game. He's made it clear that he's not going to be satisfied until all of our schools are Boston schools that are on the move, but he's been doing that for a long time, long before they called him mayor. And so I got this note: Dear Keith, you've already been up here once. Get right to it. Thanks for the note, but I have the mic. I want to thank Laura also for her remarks. They underscore that if we want to change the educational outcomes for our students, it's going to take all of us. I do have the best job on the program. I get to mess with you while I begin to tell you about who it is that's going to win this prize. Did you have a Halloween candy binge last night? Oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be doing that. And now it's time for the big announcement. And the last chance to get in on the raffle, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pull the name of the winner at the end of the program, and instead of having you come up, we're going to put it, because of this incredible technology, we're going to put it right up on the screen. So you'll know who you are, and then we'll meet you outside so that you can, collect that. Now, We want to thank the sponsors because of them, $200,000 was raised before you walked into this room. So the $50,000 that I'm talking about is just what happens from the time you showed up for tea and crumpets this morning to right now, okay? So understand that we had that 200. So full disclosure, as I know there are some sponsors who will correct me in the hallway, $200,000 was raised before this. I'm not going to tell you who the winner is until I see some of the, yeah, I see them. I see some of those baskets being collected on your tables and that they're filled up. Now, as Wendell and Pam said earlier, it's going to take you and I to make big change happen, but healthy and engaging schools, great teaching, strong leadership, and great educational outcomes for all of our students will only happen through the dedicated effort of those who we celebrate today. And so, EdVestors works day in and day out, so I encourage you all to do the same. Let's step up our game and support the great work of EdVestors. So where do we go from here? I'm going to announce a winner. We're going to have a quick photograph followed by brief remarks from the winning school principal. Immediately following the principal's remarks, we're going to, as I said, put the raffle winner up here. Come on, Keith, get to it. I want to invite the mayor back up, Superintendent Chang back up, Wendell Knox back up, Jim Stone and Laura Burrill. Come on and join me on the stage so you can help us present the prize and congratulate the winner. While they come up here, I want to commend this year's panel. We have a perfect track record of not telling you who won before this event. And we've known for a while now, since we visited the schools. They hid me. They didn't allow me to come to Jim's house for the event. Then they hid me in that corner this morning, let me have a little bit of tea, and then here I am. Regardless of the winner, we salute the two finalist schools for the tremendous effort on behalf of our children. Both finalist schools will each receive recognition awards of $10,000, as was mentioned, and they're going to have the award displayed in their school building. While there is just one School on the Move prize each year, we have enormous respect and appreciation for the efforts of all three schools. When the winner is announced, we invite that school leader to join us on the podium to accept the prize. And so, without further ado, in this envelope, hopefully big enough that I don't have to put on glasses, the School on the Move prize 2017 winner is the Mildred Avenue School. Congratulations, come on up here. So we want to get a quick photo.
Wow. If anybody 4 years ago bought a lotto ticket or put a bet on the Mildred Avenue being up here, you're probably going to contact your financial advisor right now. It was long odds, for sure. So amazing, and we're so humbled and honored to be getting this prestigious award. Before we go into just some quick thank yous and just a tiny bit about us, could we have a round of applause for the McKay and the Kennedy? There's such great things going on throughout BPS, and those are two unbelievable stories, and I congratulate them as well. Thank you, EdVestors, for this incredible opportunity. We're so honored, so appreciative to get this type of recognition and have a chance to tell our story a little bit. Thank you to Boston Public Schools. Thank you to Dr. Chang, Mayor Walsh, Jessica, and the BTU as well. To our instructional superintendent, Kelly Hung, operational superintendent, Al Taylor, and operational leader, Ann Callahan, not Al. They are sometimes also confused. I'd also be remiss not to thank our former assistant superintendent, Drew Eccleston, who's here as well. And I want a huge acknowledgement for Ms. Cheryl Padone, Ms. Andrea Ray, Dr. Amberzeth Lima, and Ms. Danielle Neville. Give them a round of applause. Their tireless work and the tireless work of our entire staff is what bring us here today. It's been a long 4 years, a long journey. And for some of our teacher leaders, they have been there since Mildred Avenue opened in 2003. It said in the video 4 years ago, we were a school on life support, and in a lot of ways we were. The question for a lot of people was not if we would become a turnaround, a level 4 school, but when. But right from the get-go, we talked about not just trying to stave off turnaround status, but trying to be the best K-8 school and what that would look like. I think some of the things that have made us unique and part of our story is that we're a story of proactive turnaround work. We were teetering on level 4. We were probably 3.99, but we weren't there yet. And so we turned things around before it got to a point where somebody else was going to do it for us. It was teacher-led work, and that's a huge part of our story. And I think, as it was said in the video earlier, when most schools like us have gotten in this situation, people have wanted to take the reins tight. The accountability has been suffocating at times. In our case, we were given more autonomy as a school. We fed that back to the classrooms, where teachers had more chance to be creative and innovative, which then led to students who were feeling more empowered, owning the work, being more creative themselves, families that wanted to buy in. And that is a huge part to our story. More so than anything else is just a story of our staff rallying together. We have an incredible teacher team. We've had an incredible teacher team, and they stayed on to do the work. Our students are amazing students. We had 360 about at the time this 4 years started. We now have 560. We'll have about 650 next year. And they're coming off a Halloween high this morning, so. Also thank EdVestors for that. Instead of cleaning up candy wrappers this morning, we're here, which is nice. At the end of the day, I think Mildred shows what is possible when everybody is rowing in the same direction. When you start to not talk about obstacles, but you start to talk about opportunities. and you stop dwelling on policies and things like that and just start to adapt a whatever it takes philosophy for reaching every single student and elevating every single student. As I said earlier, when we first got together 3 years ago as a staff, we talked about being the best K-8 in the city. We are very, very proud of the work we've done so far. We've made a lot of gains to get there, but we also realize there's a lot of work left to do. And so we'll head back this afternoon. We're really excited to be bringing this award back to Mattapan, but we're also going to be going back to roll up our sleeves and keep the work alive and keep working together to make Mildred Avenue the best that it can be. Thank you so much.